One thing I understand now is that when you're your true authentic self, you will disappoint a lot of people because you won't meet the expectation that they have of you. And so what you have to understand is that people expect of you what they know of you. And at the end of the day, people don't fully know you, and you're the only one who truly knows your full self. And so people are gonna see you in this world and take portions of how they see you living your life. They might see a glimpse of you for an hour in a day. They might see how many followers you have on Instagram. They might see how you dress or how you walk, and they create all these different expectations of you and how they believe you should be living your life or what they believe is what's best for you. And they kind of start to trying to voice those opinions onto you and portray their opinion, and it affects how you kind of see yourself. And what I had to learn is that you're not obligated to meet other people's expectations. And again, you're going to disappoint a lot of people when you don't meet their expectations. I think what a lot of people struggle with is learning to accept that, hey, you'll lose people. Hey, people will be upset with you. Hey, certain people won't accept you in their life because you won't meet that expectation. And so what I've kind of noticed is that there's like two set of expectations. There's worldly expectations, and then there's expectations from the people who are close to you and the people that you see on like a day-to-day basis. And when it comes to worldly expectations, there's some things where it's like it makes you feel you have to start a business and that having a 9 to 5 isn't acceptable, or it might be like black men can't date anything other than black women. That's one I see a lot on social media, or it's just all these different opinions on social media and just in the news and just from the world in general that makes it feel like you have to be some type of a person or be a specific type of person in order to basically be accepted, or in order to feel that there's not something wrong with you. And again, when you're your true authentic self, a lot of times you're not going to meet those expectations. And a lot of people put on this mask every day or this facade to be accepted or to keep peace or to not have to go through those tough times that they maybe feel they don't have the strength to go through, like just people constantly voicing their opinions, or people constantly just not wanting to talk to them because of their perception of the world or how they live their life, to the point that they would rather just become somebody they're not because they feel that that's the safest thing to do in order to live a peaceful life. But in reality, it isn't, because you're no longer staying true to yourself and you're suffering internally, even if you might be being accepted externally. And one thing I used to struggle with is almost a guiltiness for not meeting other people's expectations. It was like, if I wasn't the funniest person, or if I wasn't the most athletic, or if I wasn't the strongest, or doing the thing that everybody else is doing, it kind of became a reflection on myself, thinking, dang, I feel guilty for not being like everybody else. I feel like something's wrong with me. And so I think that guilt sometimes of seeing people not accept you, seeing people kind of be disappointed in you, makes people start living their life in a certain way in order to meet those expectations, just so they don't have that guiltiness. But in reality, then they start feeling guilty with themselves, because it's like, you know your true self more than anyone else does. And so other people can't really form an expectation, a true expectation of you and what's best for you, because they don't fully know you like you know you. And so with that guiltiness, it's like, you feel like you're betraying yourself in a way, but then you get distracted and see that you're being accepted by others, to the point that that guilt's not as bad as when you feel you're disappointing others. It's like you rather disappoint yourself rather than disappoint others. You rather value others more than you value yourself. And so as a result, it's like we lose trust in ourselves, because then people start taking into consideration everybody else with every decision they make. They're always thinking externally, how is this going to affect the people around me? How are other people going to view me making this decision? How are other people going to judge me for making this choice in my life? Even though I feel it's what's best for me, but in that moment, it's like, how will the external factors react? And you don't even consider what's the best decision for you, because you're just so worried about what's the best decision to keep the peace, what's the best decision to be accepted, what's the best decision for everybody to like you, or not have everybody against you. And this can go for so many people. Like, it could be from the expectations of your parents or the expectations of your friends. Maybe it's like going to college, or whether or not you want to party every weekend, whether or not you smoke or drink. It's like you have this huge fear of letting everybody else down and not aligning with everybody else's way of living because of the feedback that comes back from that, because of people voicing their opinions, because of people voicing and judging the way you do live your life. Because you have to realize that people want you to be the person that benefits their life. Like, usually we all want something out of people to an extent, to the point that the expectations we have of those in our lives is usually to benefit us. Usually we're telling people to live their life a certain way because, hey, it makes them not feel that there's something wrong with them. So now it's like, oh, if I'm drinking, but then everybody else isn't drinking around me, now I feel some type of way about myself. I feel something's wrong with me. But hey, if I can convince everybody around me to do the same things I'm doing, now I don't feel that something's wrong with me. And so you have to realize that people are trying to get you to be like them. And some people just can't accept that there are different people in this world. And that if people are different from you, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them. It just means that, hey, they may not be the person for you. They may not be someone that you enjoy hanging around, but that doesn't mean you have to judge them to the extent that you tell them they need to change their life, or that you think that you have their life figured out based off how you live your life. And so now they make the assumption that how they live their life is the best way for you to live yours. And so some of y'all might be saying, so how do I deal with the expectations of others? And the real answer is that you don't. Like, I learned that in order to be at peace with myself, in order for me to truly find happiness in the things I love to do and live the life I wish to live, which is maybe not for everybody who I've always been around, which may not be for the friends who I thought were friends, which may not be for the people who I want to be in my life. Maybe their expectation of me I can't meet, and I'm not obligated to meet it. And so you have to learn to stay true and authentic to yourself and be willing to accept what comes with that. Be willing to accept that, hey, not everybody's going to want to be friends with you. Hey, you're going to face rejection. Hey, other people are going to make these various different assumptions of you, and you're not obligated to meet those expectations. Again, you being your true authentic self will disappoint so many different people because they have such a limited perception of who you are and knowing who you are, to the point that they can't really determine what is or isn't best for you. Only you can do that. But if they're unwilling to see it from your perspective, see why you live your life the way you do, see the vision in which you have for yourself, then they're not going to agree with how you live your life all the time. Because I like to say that I would much rather be at peace with myself than at war with the world, meaning that I would much rather live the life in which I wish to live and know that I'm staying true to myself, making decisions for myself, not considering any and everybody's feelings in every decision I make, rather than putting on a facade and making every single day Halloween in order to be accepted by other people. I would much rather just be me rather than become the person who others want me to be. And what you also have to start to understand is that you are not responsible for other people's feelings. You are not responsible for how other people feel about you being your true authentic self. Like, you're gonna disappoint so many other people. You're gonna hurt people's feelings. People are going to be upset with you. People are going to get mad at you for the decisions you make. And I talk about this in another video, but doing what's best for you comes with taking on losses in other areas. It comes with making sacrifices and cutting certain people out of your life and just understanding what's best for you in that current season of your life. It comes with just not wanting to go out or not valuing the things in which other people value, which might be, having a lot of women or having a lot of dating options or drinking and partying every single weekend. It might be like you missing out on certain things because you don't want to live the life that other people constantly live because you just don't value it, and it's just not who you are. And I can't make it my responsibility and take on this certain amount of guiltiness because you don't agree with how I live my life, or I disappointed you because I didn't meet your expectation, or what you thought was best for me, I disagree with it as being what's best for me. Like I'm sure I disappointed my parents at times when I said, oh, I don't want to go to college, or I don't want to pursue this career. Like sometimes they had the expectation that they wanted me to take over their business, and I'm like, I'm just not interested in it. And for a certain amount of time, they became disappointed in my decision. But I was at peace with myself because I didn't take into factor how they would feel. Like I didn't make it my responsibility. I didn't feel this heavy weight of guiltiness, because it was like, I want to do what's best for me. I want to do the things that I know I'm interested in and that I know are for me. And I don't want to feel obligated to become this person in which I simply just know I'm not. And the worst thing that could ever happen is that you do become somebody who you think other people want you to be, and you still get the result that you didn't even want in the first place. And I've done that in the past before, where I have changed who I was as a person. I did shape myself and put on this facade to become this character, or become this person who I thought others wanted me to be, and they still didn't accept me. They still thought I wasn't good enough, or they still didn't agree with how I was living my life. And that's the worst thing you want to do, is become somebody you're not and get away from your true self, and it ends up all being for nothing. It ends up getting you the same exact result that you were trying to avoid in the first place, of becoming somebody you weren't. And if you truly struggle with this and maybe even want to talk to me more about it, feel free to join the school community in the description. It's a self-growth, self-discovery community that I think could really benefit you if you truly apply yourself to it. But yeah, so just like understanding that what comes with your true authentic self, you have to be willing to take on, because again, I feel like a lot of us try and become in control of the things out of our control. We try and take responsibility for the things that really are our responsibility, such as other people's feelings, how other people might view us. And you never want to put yourself in a position where you're constantly trying to explain yourself. You're constantly trying to prove your worth to people. You have to allow people to essentially be wrong about you, to allow their expectations of you to not be the person that you are. And if you're constantly trying to prove who you are, you're constantly trying to prove that, hey, this is what's best for me, or trying to get them to understand why you live your life and which the way you live it, then you'll constantly see yourself overextending yourself or spreading yourself thin, because you're giving out so much energy to so many other people. And at some point, you just have to accept, man, I can't satisfy everybody. Not everybody's going to be right about me. Not everybody's going to truly understand the story behind why I live my life the way I live it, my passions, the visions I have for myself, what brings me peace, what brings me happiness. Because again, because it doesn't align with how they view it, their perception of it, how those things are to their life, what their vision is, or what brings them peace and happiness, they can't accept that there's differences from person to person. They can't accept that, hey, somebody else has a different way of finding peace. Somebody else has a different way of finding happiness. Someone else has a different way of like interacting with others and enjoying their time that isn't partying or drinking or smoking or being on the phone all day, being on the game all day. Like sometimes you have to learn that, hey, their inability to accept people's differences, their inability to see from different perspectives, their inability to understand me and like understand that, hey, there's different ways of living life, isn't my responsibility. And I can't constantly waste my energy trying to get them to understand those things or get them to understand different perspectives, because then I end up causing my own self-stress. Then I end up damaging myself at the cost of trying to fix others. So yeah, people are going to create all these various different labels for who they say you are based off you being your true authentic self. So they're going to call you uncool. They're going to say you're lame. They're going to say, hey, you're living your life the wrong way. They're going to say you're a bad person, a fake person, a selfish person, and all these things that make you feel guilty and make you challenge doing what's best for you, or challenge the life that truly brings you peace. And you have to learn to just accept that that's going to come. But in the end, you have to know who you truly are. You have to know your true authentic self. And when you know who you are, that others don't have the ability to determine who you are, because you're solidified in knowing who you are as a person and like what truly brings you peace, happiness, joy, and all that other stuff. But yeah, man, join up on the school self-growth community. Join up on the Discord. Both those links are going to be in the description. Hopefully you gained some value and some different perspectives from this video. Hopefully it was helpful. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.